everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree, and if you're new here, hi, welcome, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be doing a Christmas themed tag, which was just very recently created by a fellow small YouTuber, Marie McWilliams. I will leave Marie's original video down below, so you guys should definitely check hers out as well, but I'm going to be doing the Christmas horror book tag. So I really just loved this idea because Marie's channel has a lot of horror themed books and that kind of style, and I absolutely love it because horror is something that I really want to get into more, but I have not really dabbled into it much at all. Which is really funny because I took a horror writing class in college. It was one of the best experiences of my life, and then never read anything else. So I'm gonna have this disclaimer here that these questions aren't gonna be 100% horror-y in nature, just because I don't read a lot. I am hoping to change that, and spoiler alert, if you have recommendations, definitely leave those down below for me, because I hope to read just a few. I'm not gonna give myself a huge goal, but I would love to read a few horror picks in 2020. So in theory, I read a lot of fantasy, contemporary, and sometimes those have like elements of horror in it, mostly with the fantasy, not the contemporary. I also like to read gothic literature. I like thrillers and mysteries, and like I said, sometimes with the fantasy elements there are horror-esque aspects, but I don't really just read plain horror books. When I took my horror writing class, I had a short story compilation which were all horror themed, and to my knowledge that's the only thing I can think of that counts as a horror book. I might be wrong. There might be something out there that I've read. Like maybe some of the classics might be considered horror, like Frankenstein and Dracula. Like those might be horror, but otherwise modern horror is not something I've read. Anyway, I digress. I'm not going to get into the fact that I don't read horror, but I really just want to do this tag. It sounds fun, and plus I want to support a fellow small YouTuber like myself because she's great and you should go check her out. Like I said, link will be down below. Go check out Marie. Anyway, onto the tag. The first question on this tag is, what is the best horror themed gift you have received? I definitely have received a fair few things that could be considered horror-ish, but I received this one book, which is Tales of Classic Horror, from one of my best friends, Mallory. She knows how much I kind of love horror things, even though I don't read a lot. I love watching horror. I love watching psychological thrillers more than necessarily horror, but I like well done horror plots. I don't really care for like the campy, stereotypical, I know people are gonna die and that kind of thing, but I love the thing like where a lot of thought goes into a story, and it's that kind of creepy, could actually happen horror. But I also just kind of love this aesthetic, so she bought me this beautiful collection of spine-tingling short stories. And I think I've only read like 1 or 2 stories in here, but it's absolutely beautiful, and I cherish this book with all my life because friends who encourage my reading habits are friends to keep. But other than this book, I have received other small things. You know, I know my husband has gifted me tons and tons of book boxes, and sometimes in those book boxes I'll get like horror-esque books. I don't think I've ever just gotten a horror book before, but again, might be wrong. I don't know. I'm really bad at this. He also, behind me, I have my, I don't know if it's actually in the shot, but I have like a fake bottle of arsenic, and my husband bought that for me to do my Halloween spooky themed bookstagram pictures. So, I mean, he indulges me and all of my ambitions that I have. So, he has gifted me quite a few things. And then in general, like, it's not really horror, but like witchy things. I love that aesthetic as well. So he's bought me quite a lot of things that could probably be considered best gifts ever. For the sake of condensing this video, I'm gonna go with this is the best book gift that I've received so far. The next question is, which horror franchise or author's gifts would you like to have under the Christmas tree? So again, this is a little difficult since I don't have like a favorite author or horror franchise, but I was actually just telling my husband that I would really love to catch up on all the Stephen King movies, because out of his, I've watched It, the old one, and part 1 of the new series, and I've seen The Dark Tower. And that's it. So I'm really behind. So I mean, if I'm gonna pick something to have under my Christmas tree, it would be all of the Stephen King movies / like horror shows, because I think there are 2 shows based on one of his books, or 2 of his books, I mean. So I would love to catch up on that. That's one of my goals as far as like movies or things that I need to see. I have a few others that aren't horror related. And I do own actually several Stephen King books, so I'd probably choose to get audiobooks from Stephen King as well, because I think I would be able to consume them faster than me physically reading all the books. So that's who I would pick for Under the Christmas Tree. Number 3 is, what would you buy your favorite horror author for Christmas? So again, since I don't really have a favorite, and I've technically only read part of Stephen King's memoir, which is called On Writing, and not necessarily horror specific, I feel like it would be unfair to pick him just because I haven't read anything. And again, I haven't really read many. Definitely leave suggestions down below for me, especially like where even to start with reading horror, because I feel like I don't really want to read like a 1,000-page tome to start off, because that might just take me forever, and that terrifies me. I guess that's the point, right? But I would probably just say, in general, when I find a favorite author, I'd probably just want to write them like a note just to say, hey, this was really good and creepy, but you know, make sure you take some time, hug your dog, and maybe even bake them some cookies, just so they don't forget that there are wonderful things in life and not just horror. Question number 4 is, for Christmas, you are suddenly absorbed into your current or recent horror read. How screwed are you? So I have not read any horror recently, and I feel like it'd be unfair to go back and try to figure out which one I read. So I'm just going to use the last read I had, which was Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. So I feel like it depends on which end of the shtick I would be on if I was in that book. If I was a witch, I'd probably be very screwed, because there are a lot of witch hunters and they're pretty persistent. If I was a witch hunter, I also might be screwed a little bit, because the witches are trying to revolt and take over. And if I was an ordinary person, I might just be caught in the crossfire. So I don't think my chances are good in this world. However, if I was a witch, I feel like I would have a little bit more of a chance, or a human. Because if I was a witch, I would at least have my magic to protect me, and I can go into hiding. Or if I was a human, I would just, I would just do my thing. I'd be living in France and, have to worry about catching the plague or something. But yeah, so I feel like I'd be okay, unless I was one of the witch or the witch hunters. Then I might have a little bit more of issues there. Question number 5 is very similar, but for Christmas, you are suddenly absorbed into the last horror movie that you watched. How screwed are you? So the last horror movie that I can remember watching would be It Chapter 1, but that might be a lie. But I'm pretty sure that's the last one I've actually seen. And considering that I'm now an adult, I think I would be okay, since, the clown seemed to only target the children in that movie. So I feel like I'd be okay. Plus, I don't have any children myself, so I don't have to worry about them being in danger. So I think I'd be okay. And question number 6 is, Krampus is coming to get you. So who would make up your squad to kick his ass? I'd probably have to go with a nice variety. I would say let's stick with 5 people, including myself. And I need to have like a decent amount of characteristics so that we won't get screwed. So I'm probably going to have to choose Kaz Brecker from the Six of Crows duology. Kaz, even though he is disabled in the book, he is so cunning and manipulative, and is easy to kind of plan moves, that I feel like that would be a good quality to have when you're trying to beat Krampus, because, he can try to outwit him and come up with a quick plan that'll have everyone in the right positions so that we would win. Along the same lines, I think I'm going to have Hermione Granger, because 1, she has magic, which is a huge advantage, and 2, she knows so much about the magic. She's poured her life and soul into studying and knowing all that she can. So I feel like if I'm going to have anyone in the wizarding community, it's going to have to be Hermione, because I feel like she would be on her game. And then her and Kaz would probably come up with some plan together, and it would be perfect. On the other side of things, I also feel like I need a little bit of muscle to make sure that we're okay. So I'd probably choose Riel Darden from the Fury Born series by Claire Legrand. Riel is incredibly powerful. She has a lot of magic, and she has a lot of sway. She's also very personable. So I feel like in Krampus's case, her personality won't help, but her magic will. And like I said, she's extremely powerful, like can, you know, move the heavens, shake the earth kind of power. So I definitely think I would want her on my side. Similarly, I think I'm just going to have to go with classic man power and go with Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII, because dude has a big sword and he might be able to slice Krampus in half before Krampus even gets to us. So I feel like those 4 people are definitely going to have to make up my squad, and we would win. Because then there'd be me in the background, probably just cheerleading going, go team, we got this. So yeah, those are my squads, and I think we'd be fine. So this video was probably really quick and short, and maybe a mess because I don't read horror and I'm doing a horror book tag, but I hope you guys can forgive me, and that gives you more reason to suggest to me some things to read in the horror genre. I do have my Classic Tales of Horror book that I showed earlier in this video, so maybe I'll actually start just reading some of those short stories. And I also have a decent amount of Stephen King books. I'm pretty sure Pet Sematary and Misery are relatively short books that I have. So maybe in the new year I will get to those 2. And if you have any audiobook recommendations for some of Stephen King's longer books, let me know which ones you like, because I'm always driving with my job and can always use a good audiobook. Plus, if you have anyone other than Stephen King, also let me know, because I probably should, you know, expand my knowledge of the horror genre and not just stick to the classic author there. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to tag whoever wants to do this, and you know, if you do this because you watched my video, please feel free to shout me out, and go watch Marie's original video and give her a shout out as well for making this wonderful, fun, quick tag. Otherwise, guys, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a great holiday season, and I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye!